What Dying on Every Drug Feels Like by A Talking Hat.
The pencil incident. Shrooms are a natural psychedelic that cause hallucinations. About 30 minutes after eating them, colors get brighter, patterns start crawling on the walls, time stretches like taffy, and your sense of self begins to melt. Your brain is rushed into a state of euphoria, leaving you questioning what's real and what's not. But what happens when you take too much? On a calm Saturday afternoon, a 21-year-old Hispanic man would return home from work and consume an unspecified quantity of shrooms. Shortly after consumption, he started experiencing a bad trip and begun acting erratically upon arriving to his house. His stepfather and brother would step in and restrain him to try to calm him down, but he'd break free of their grasp and also break a glass vase in the process. In his frenzied state, he'd then begin to rub himself against the glass shards on the floor and severely injure his arms and legs. His brother and stepfather would successfully intervene to stop him from injuring himself any further with the glass shards, and he'd be sat down at a desk. But shockingly enough, in a horrific act, he'd take a number 2 pencil that was laying on the desk, stand it upright, and repeatedly smash his head on the sharpened pencil. When he raised his head, he'd reveal that he jabbed the pencil repeatedly into both of his eye sockets. He would stand up again to do something else, but quickly vomited on himself, leaving his family in a state of total panic. Emergency services were called, where they tried desperately to save the young man's life, but unfortunately, they would only get so far. Shrooms are one of the least toxic substances.
Oh, hell nah! What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? Hell nah! Are you kidding me? All because of a bet? Yo, never. Never. Has that happened to you? Be honest. What does that even... I'm alive. How could that have happened to me? I'm alive. That's so... And that's... I'll never do it. I'll never have a... Never. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want whatever this gives you. By the way, the whole concept of a good and a bad trip is so outrageous to me. Because what is it, a fucking coin toss? I pop them in and it's like, all right, let's see which one we get today. What the fuck kind of experience is that? There's a bad one? What the fuck? No! No! No, please, no. No, I don't want it. And whatever, like, if we're talking like a pros and cons list, if we're talking about a pros and cons list here, when I have 8 beers, I have a lot of fun, I'm very talkative, make great memories, they taste good, and it's awesome. And the downside is I get a little hungover, and maybe I live 5 less years. When I take this, however, the upside is I maybe learn something about myself. And the downside is I might see the devil and do this. No. It's just how anxious you are. It depends on your mental state.
In the world, you'd need to eat dozens or even hundreds of grams to fatally overdose. But that doesn't mean people can't die from it. Most fatalities come from behavioral toxicity, panicking, jumping out windows, walking into traffic, or doing something fatal during a full-blown psychotic break. You won't pass away from the drug itself. You'll pass away from what it does to your mind.
Yeah, I'm good.
The Gator incident.
I'm good.
Now let's talk about meth. When it hits, you feel invincible. This substance cranks up your sympathetic nervous system and causes an explosive release of dopamine in your body. Your heart starts racing, you become laser-focused, and you'll be filled with unstoppable energy. The high can last 8 to 16 hours. No sleep, no food, just intense stimulation. And when you take too much, your body turns into an absolute war zone. On May 26th...
Yeah, this is one that actually makes no sense to me. Just makes no sense. I don't even know why. And I've watched Breaking Bad. Literally no clue why you would ever indulge in this. No clue. You know what? I'm just gonna shut my ass up. I will say though, when I was younger, I kind of still hold this opinion. If I'm like mid 60s and like theoretically, let's just say like everything has just gone wrong. I have like no one in my life. I'm just like living alone in an apartment. Everything has gone south and I've lost every coin flip for the last 20 years. Maybe. You know, like if I'm getting old and I got nothing going on, pass me the pipe. You know what I mean? Why not? Or even if I'm like real old and I have a lot of good things, I still might just rip it, you know? Cause like, wouldn't it be funny, but just like, if I was like 85 and I had kids and grandkids, and like, what if I just ripped it? What if I just ripped the blue crystal? You know what I mean? Like, if I live, that's awesome. I got to try it. And if I don't, Grandpa got knocked off by some crystal. Talk about aura going out. Are you serious? Something to think about. You wouldn't? Hey, I know that's 22-year-old me talking right now, but it's something I think about, you know?
Orlando, Florida, concerned bystanders would phone a call to police officers to let them know that there was a man on a racetrack shaking violently, asking to see his son. When police arrived, he was nowhere to be found until suddenly he was located in a lake full of alligators. Officers would try to throw the man a life vest, but he'd refuse it and would start getting attacked by the alligators in the water. And to officers' surprise, like it was a scene straight out of a horror movie, the man actually resurfaced out of the lake, covered in severe injuries and carrying gardening shears. He would charge at the officers in their car, and they would tase him repeatedly, but it would have absolutely no effect. It was only when the man jumped into the passenger seat of the police cruiser and tried reaching for a rifle in the vehicle that officers finally used lethal force. It hijacks your brain's reward system and sends your body into overdrive. It burns out your dopamine center and disrupts your central nervous system so much that your body both loses touch with reality and can no longer regulate its temperature. Your organs can literally cook from the inside out and cause you to collapse. You can have a heart attack, or you could simply just go on a rampage and meet an early demise like this man.
What the fuck? I didn't know it made you invincible. What the fuck? They got the fucking GTA 5 like Trevor upgrade. Like, what the fuck is that? What is that called? What is this thing? Like his ability? Trevor's ability in GTA 5. That's what that is. That's literally what that is. No, all of this has not happened to me. You're a liar. Dude, just the idea, like, could you imagine tasing someone and they're like, is that it? What the fuck? And he beat a bunch of gators! He beat multiple alligators!
The 108th incident. Weed is by far one of the most commonly used substances in the United States. Within minutes of smoking, you're relaxed, music sounds better, jokes are funnier, and you get really, really hungry.
I will say something really quick though. The music sounds better thing is always something that I hear so often. And I would go as far as to say, for me, it sounds worse. Hear me out! When I am in that state, you ever like, for anybody who has, like my brain zones in on one instrument and I can't zone out. Like if I'm listening to a rap song, for example, all I'm able to hear is the clap. The whole time, all I'm able to hear is the clap. And I can't hear anything. Like, I understand, like, that it sounds better. I just can't, I don't know. Like, I would much rather have a couple beers and hear one of my favorite songs.
You might feel euphoric, or anxious, or both. It depends on the strain, your mood, and your brain chemistry. So what happens when you smoke too much of it? Well, here's the truth. You can't die from THC toxicity alone. There's no known lethal dose in humans. You'd have to smoke thousands of joints in a short time to even come close. But that doesn't mean weed is harmless. In the spring of 2018 in California, a woman who had just befriended a man at a dog park she frequently visited would follow him home to his apartment for a quick spark-up session, which, mind you, is totally legal in the state of California. After the two finished lighting up grass through a bong, the woman would unexpectedly shoot up from her seat straight to the kitchen and grab 3 knives.
Hey, could you come back with some chips? And maybe some ice cream? And maybe some chicken Oh, are you trying to chop up some salsa? I love salsa.
Jim, I'm not making salsa.
In just the blink of an eye, she would stab the man repeatedly non-stop 108 times. His body would be covered in stab marks from head.
What? Why? Motherfucker just wanted some ice cream. What is that? What? Dude, first of all, unrelated to whether or not the ZA caused this or not, whenever I hear like somebody got stabbed X amount of times, I'm like, what? Could you, like, even in my brain, if I were to think about in-game doing that to somebody, like anything over like 15 stabs is unnecessary. Like 100? Dude, that was 30. We're not even a third of the way there. Not even at 50 yet. Bro, what are you doing? Like, what is that? Even if she was double-handing them. I'm not even at 60. That's so insane. Like, what is that? I'll hear like, oh, they were stabbed like 85 times on like true crime. What? How do you even, like, you had that much time? Jing, 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 jing. What? That's outrageous.
To toe, and his face would nearly be entirely carved out. Officers that arrived at the scene would find that she had also stabbed her dog, and shockingly enough, herself 40.
This woman isn't under the jail.
The scene would find that she had also stabbed her dog, and shockingly enough, had stabbed herself 40 times, and was still in the process of doing it. They would quickly.
What are we talking about? Herself 40 times? 40? Yo. Ready? There it goes. There's 40, I think. I might have lost count. Do you know how absolutely... Dude, what the fuck? That was 45 I counted? Okay. Well, she was still in the process. What are we talking about? How could you even do... that's one of the things that actually gives me like the heebie-jeebies. I can't imagine like something sharp going in me. Ugh! I can't. I hate it. 40 times?
They would quickly intervene and try to physically stop her, but it wasn't enough. Officers would tase her 4 times to try to break her psychotic frenzy, but it would be to no avail. In order to get her to stop, one police officer had to swing a baton at her arm 9 times to break it, and finally she would release her grip from the knife. The man unfortunately didn't make it, but surprisingly, the woman did. And even more shockingly, she faced 0 prison time for her actions because it was proven in court that she experienced what is commonly known as cannabis-induced psychosis.
Oh, hell nah! What? What are we talking about? She ain't going to jail? Oh my god, she did no time. She did 0 time. Cannabis-induced psychosis. That can't be real. Nah, it's called FENT, bruh. Some people who use may experience acute symptoms of psychosis, including paranoia, delusions, or disorganized thinking, or even hallucinations. What? Blah, 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 bro. She killed the dog. She's gotta go. She got the dog. She's gotta go. I don't care. She got fucking OJ's lawyer. She got a killer lawyer. She got OJ's lawyer. It had to be.
The woman was very inexperienced when it came to smoking weed, and that potentially played a huge role in why she experienced this rare phenomenon. She was placed on probation for 2 years and was required to do 100 hours of community service. The man's family, especially his father, were extremely upset when they heard about this. Understandably so.
It should never have happened. She should have never have been allowed to walk free. She should have done some time. You know, you had a jury that convicted her, a unanimous conviction in less than 4 hours. And the judge went completely against all 3 of those entities and just said, you're free to go.
Nah, bro. She killed the dog. She gotta go. Nah, she killed the dog. She gotta go. She gotta go. She gotta go. That judge, without knowing the full details of the case, well, knowing most of them, and knowing the jury convicted her on all counts in 4 hours. That's nothing. They basically walked in and walked right the fuck out. She gotta go. Gotta go. The psychosis can be permanent, then she needs to go into the jail now. She can't be out walking the streets with permanent psychosis. She gotta go. She gotta go. That's insane. That's insane. Inexperience with the za. Dude, when I was inexperienced with the za, I was just like eating too many chips. Like, what are we talking about?
The stove. YouTube really didn't like the case on ecstasy that I found. So instead, we'll go over this situation where a 26-year-old martial arts fighter and his sparring partner consumed an unnatural amount of shrooms while in their apartment. Initially, everything was fine, until they became convinced that the world was coming to an end and that the two were fighting a battle of life and death between God and the devil.
Naturally,
the two would begin their legendary battle, and finally when the struggle finished, their friend would walk into their apartment room only to find the martial arts fighter standing butt naked in the kitchen cooking his friend's heart and remains in a stove. The victim would be found laying on the couch, missing his face, tongue, and heart. And sadly, the autopsy revealed that he was alive when his chest was ripped open and his heart was taken out. The martial arts fighter wouldn't be as lucky as the woman in our last case. He'd be formally charged and sentenced to 47 years in state prison for what he did to his friend. Now, this probably makes the US legal system come off as a little hypocritical.
Bro, what? I mean, I quite truly have nothing. I quite truly have nothing. There's nothing to say. There's nothing to say. That completely spoke for itself. Wow. Again, I will never take a shroom. Never. I have no interest in a shroom. This much interest in a shroom.
Considering that in the other case, the woman was allowed to blame psychosis for her actions and be cleared of any severe wrongdoing, whereas in this case, the fighter's state of influence was ignored and he was directly sentenced. But honestly, that's your opinion to make. When it comes to overdosing on psilocybin, you'll find that it rarely ever ends you through toxicity alone. You'll need to eat an absurd amount for that to actually happen. The real danger is psychosis, panic, and delusion. Once you compromise the healthiness and security of your mind for a quick burst of excitement, you'll find that that's where things go haywire. So in other words, don't do drugs. Have a happy day.
Yeah, that's fucking insane. Okay, the brain is so weird. That's so... We don't know who won? Oh, no, yeah, technically we don't know if the guy who thought he was the devil or the guy who thought he was God won. Technically, we don't know who won. Neither one of them won. He's in jail for the rest of his life, probably, and the other guy got his heart cooked on a stove. I don't know. They should have shown these types of cases for the beer video, and that would have been a different story. That is probably facts. There's probably been some absolutely outrageous shit that happens when people are drunk. It's very true.